the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Hey guys, welcome to the after show for Quantico. I'm your host, Drexel Heard. You can follow me on Twitter at Drexel Heard and Instagram. And I just realized that I've been saying follow me on Facebook at official Drexel Heard when actually it's Drexel Heard official. So find me on Facebook there. Welcome back to the show, panel.
What's up, guys? I'm Timothy Michael. You can reach me on all social media platforms at I am Timothy Mike. And my dancing queen to my left.
Guys, I love this song. It just came out. It's No Vacancy by One Republic. I'm obsessed. I am Renee Ariel, and you can follow me on Instagram and on Twitter at Renee Ariel.
And be sure to follow AFTERBUZZ TV at AFTERBUZZ TV. Hello to everyone in the chat room. If you are in the chat room joining us today, leave your comments below because we always love those comments. We've got some coming up later on in the show. So Season 2, Episode 20, Global Reach. Just to give you the cryptonym, Global Reach is the CIA's organization's analytical tool specifically designed for federated querying metadata records to be shared with the USA and Fire Eyes partners. Something like that. Yes. Interesting. What do you guys think of the episode?
I wasn't a big fan of this episode. I felt it was confusing. I didn't like, there were a few scenes that I just were a bit cringeworthy for me, and overall it left me confused multiple times. Not because I didn't know what was happening, but because I didn't really understand why it was happening.
Yeah,
Right.
I do agree on some of those points, but I actually really like the manipulation factor in this episode. I like that everybody's manipulating somebody, which only higher the stakes, especially once we're getting down to the nitty-gritty of the season finale. So I kind of liked this episode in that aspect.
I think that, at least for me, we get down to these last few episodes, episode 20. We probably have 2 or 3 more left until the season finale. I looked at the preview for next week, which we'll talk about in a little at the end of the show, but I feel like we're at the beginning of a second half of a season again.
Yeah.
Like everything that there's no winding down of what just happened. It just kind of got restarted again with a whole new threat, and you're like, but why? Like, couldn't they have the task force just kind of done their task this second half of the season, which is take out the 8 people and then take out the kingpin at the end? Like, I would have much rather them do that than kind of reset this clock and then have to go through this dramatic of having yet another president resign. That's 2 presidents resigning in one season. Like, that is too much.
Well, maybe they're just, just reiterating the fact that the collaborators are this, very smart, very dangerous group, and we can never be a step ahead of them. Hence why the task force can never, complete their task. On top of that, I feel like I lost my train of thought, but
well, ahead. I mean, I understand that. I'm just saying, we went through a whole first half of the season where we had the AIC being this collaborating team that took down that was part of the government. Then now we got another whole team that they can't seem to infiltrate, that they're having trouble, that wants to take down parts of the government. And it's just like, in the first half, you had a president resign because of the AIC, and now in this half, you have a president resigning because of a collaborators. And it's like, why put that in one whole season?
It's too much.
It's too much
right
in one
now,
season.
especially. Honestly, I'm having a hard time keeping up with the fact that 1 minute Alex is going to be chill with everyone with the team, but then she's going to be right back to Team Evil and then working with them, but then Team Evil isn't aware that she's playing them, even though they're supposed to be really smart, and they're not realizing it's Alex Parrish. I don't know. It's just so many things, so many of their choices. It's just a little bit too much for me. I wish they would just make one strong choice as opposed to flip-flopping,
well,
because it makes the audience flip-flop.
Before we get to Alex's task, could you have seen, I know this whole show revolves around Priyanka Chopra and Alex Parrish, but do you guys think it would have been a better choice for the writers to choose a different character to have gone rogue with the task with this collaborating team, and not necessarily Alex, and then Alex could have just been on the other side and saved the day?
Yes.
And who would you have expected it to be?
Shelby, obviously. Shelby would 100% be like, I can handle this, even though she can't. And No, like 100%.
Plus, she has the money to bankroll.
I really wish that Quantico would just go a different route and maybe like going like straying away from their lead character, which is Alex Parrish, because I just feel like they've put her in the public light so much that I don't believe anything that she's doing. I don't believe that the collaborators can believe that she is turning on her country, even though she's done all of this for her country. I don't believe that Alex would, try to, not save this entire building with all of these people in it because somebody is telling her not to. Like, I just don't believe Alex would do any of this stuff because this is the way that the writers have set her up.
Right.
So, like, give it to somebody else who we can kind of believe would do this.
Yeah, they're changing. I mean, here's the thing, like someone's moral compass, you can't just completely change that because she thinks she's doing good, because the Alex Parrish we've known up to date obviously would not have made the same choice as she did in this episode. And I guess it throws the audience off because then it's like, well, who is Alex Parrish and who is she becoming, and how are we supposed to think about her, and if she's willing to do this, then what else is she willing to do for like the greater good that she doesn't even know if she's helping. Like right now, that's what bugs me the most. They don't have a plan. She's on the inside to see like hopefully down the road I can actually help. Right now she's just helping them.
Right. Which is what Ryan was saying towards the end, which is what where he said, no wonder you ran off with Owen, you're afraid of what I'd see. You're afraid I'd see what you'd become, which is
Owen's girlfriend.
Which I feel that whole situation was so hypocritical to me, because I'm like, Ryan, you were just at the farm going undercover undercover for the AIC, and you thought that you killed somebody and you were okay with that.
Also, side note, Ryan got over his ex-girlfriend, Sasha, real quick.
Well, I mean, I also don't think that Ryan was like, first of all, I think that with Ryan and Sasha, like, they just kind of met, whatever. He wasn't really that deep into her. He was still getting over Alex. She still
died. Like,
yeah,
that's
but I mean, he's a CIA agent, so like death and stuff. I mean, he's an FBI. CIA. Death and stuff like that does not.
But the part where Shelby and him were talking about their feelings, you think part of his feelings would be like, hey, this girl I just started seeing, who I kind of liked, she died in front of me.
Speaking of Shelby and Ryan doing this whole like Netflix and chill thing because they can't go out into the public, I feel like Quantico is just, anonymity is like an agent or an operative's best asset because nobody knows who you are. But when you're in the public light so much, like Alex and now like Shelby and Ryan, how are they supposed to do any missions when everybody knows who you are?
Right.
Like, it doesn't make it this, and this is what I'm talking about with the writers, because I'm like, how could you go down this route with making them so public, but then expect us to believe that they can do like this undercover task, whatever that would be in the future, like season 3.
And even to the point where Ryan walking into FBI headquarters in 2017, somebody would have very quickly tweeted it out. Somebody would have very quickly spotted him. He would have never gotten past this one guard who let him slip by and slip into the FBI. The FBI would have been crawling
and
with
it would have been fine if they didn't touch up on it, but they do it in the episode. They have this whole like, oh, Felix is going to meet with his Russian, and then we'll leak it and say that's why, and it's attached to work because the media will catch up on it. Or, Clay was in the office with work, and there's a journalist outside, and she's going to ask you, and it's going to look like you met with me to do this, to take down your mother. It's like, okay, you're touching on it, so that the media is very, powerful in images, but you're making your characters so public, and yet you want them to have a private job.
Right. Well, let's talk about Alex's task. So Alex is now wrapped up with these collaborators. I love that they're called the collaborators now, not like the cachet or anything like special. So the episode opens with the House voting on articles of impeachment on President Haas. For those that don't know, we've only had 2 presidents impeached in the country's history. And so President Haas would have been the 3rd president impeached.
Who were Nixon and Clinton, by the way.
They were Johnson and Clinton. Nixon resigned.
Never mind, don't know that either, guess.
That's why
I got 1 out of 2 right.
That's why I do the history stuff.
Politics with the guy who does the show.
James.
So yeah, I mean, but he was very.
I was close.
Very excited about it.
I was.
He
I was
just
very
He
wanted
was.
to
He was
say
like,
about it.
I know this.
You saw that, right?
Learn something new every day. You're welcome. You're welcome.
But he got 1 out of 2, so we'll give him that. Yeah, so Johnson and Clinton. So now Alex is meeting with these collaborators in this like glass building or whatever.
Great Pool headquarters.
At Great Pool headquarters. She starts out this conversation with Owen feeling really uneasy about like going deeper into this mission. You're like, then what are you doing, Alex? Like, okay, so then don't.
But that's another thing that bothered me is that 2 episodes ago, wasn't she training Owen to like get over his PTSD or anxiety or whatever, or be back to how he used to be before he went through all the stuff that he went through? And now he's like her handler and he's like talking her through stuff. I'm like, can we pick a route in the relationship? I'm like, either close one out and then open the next book or something, but I can't have this both like I just don't. So it's like the blind leading the blind here.
Right. So then Alex's mission from the collaborators was to convince the intelligence agencies, being the FBI and the CIA particularly, that Rourke's America is the right way, the right path. And then so Alex eventually goes to Director Keyes, which we thought that he was a part of this whole thing in the first place. And we're like, no, this guy's the guy. This is clearly the one who's in charge, and gives him 2 options: resign or get exposed for forming the task force. Then she goes to the FBI to tell them about their failings. And I'm like, could you imagine these FBI agents sitting across from Alex Parrish being like, Alex, are you serious right now? Like, you are not convincing. Like, she wasn't convincing with Keyes. She wasn't convincing with the FBI agents. I was like, girl, you are not you are setting yourself there. And then she gets this phone call. I'm like, Alice, what's her last name?
Winter.
Alice Winter is either an idiot or she does not believe Alex one bit. And I'm interested in I'm interested if you guys think that Alice doesn't believe a word that Alex is saying, but is letting her do it anyway.
I thought that because, like I said in the last episode, Alice Winter is the defense of the entire 8 aspects of the cache, and I feel like she, out of all people, would be a step ahead of Alex. And I'm like, if Alex keeps going back to the truck with Owen and back to the farm, apparently at the end of the episode, which I thought was really weird, don't we think that they have eyes on her like at all times?
Somebody does.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I think this was all a setup. Like, I think Keyes could still be a part of it, especially if he was the first one that they went to with Alex to test her out. I think it's very possible that could have just been a setup to make it look like that's what she was doing. Because here's the thing. Knowing Quantico, there's full of twists. I'm guessing they already know she's not really fully in it. They're just seeing what they can make her do while she's helping them. Because they're really not letting her in. As long as she has an upper hand, like she's just helping them. That's what bugs me the most. There's in this episode, literally nothing good happened. Well, like they kept trying to do something and then it didn't work, and then something bad happened, and like nothing, nothing satisfying happened in this episode.
And just back to Alice for a second, like there was a moment where she told Alex like she believes she's doing the right thing, and I'm like, are you just telling Alex that because you know how emotional Alex gets? Like, what is your angle for telling somebody like Alex that? Like, Alex, I know I'm doing the right thing. I believe that I'm doing the right thing and that you are too. Like, okay.
It's usually what you say when you don't think you're doing the right thing.
Exactly.
Also, wait, just side note, like, you can put your phone on Do Not Disturb. So if you're like, oh my gosh, like, what if Ryan keeps calling me? You could literally just put your phone on Do Not Disturb.
Right. You can put that person on Do Not Disturb.
Yeah.
In the iPhone.
And if you can't, like, update your phone, Alex.
And I want to know how Alex got her. Now, I have an iPhone, and I think everybody here at the table does. But Alex literally turned off her ringer or turned on her ringer.
No, she just kept turning it off and on because when you do that, it vibrates.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mine doesn't.
Well, you might have it set to...
I have it set to a different vibration. But it was like really, but it was like so loud that I'm like, dang, Alex. How did you get it to call you like that? That was a little weird to me. So then they sneak this water bottle in, and that was another moment where when Alex got the phone call for Ryan outside, that I was like, Alice does not believe anything that you're doing right now. You know what I mean? Like she looked back at her at the table. She looked back in the CIA room. She looked at her in the FBI room where I don't believe Alice believes Alex for the second because of women's intuition. And I'm sure that's going to come out later on. So then they realize that the water bottle that Alex brought in, first of all, how did Alex Parrish of all people not realize that she had a water bottle that she never had in her bag?
That's just another thing with inconsistencies on the writer's parts. Because I'm like, you're an FBI agent / CIA operative. You would know if there was a 2-pound difference in your bag, when you left one place to another. I just can't.
Especially if they didn't hand you the water bottle and be like, "Hey, do you want a water bottle?" and you slipped it in your bag. Like Alex would have seen that water bottle in her bag.
I agree.
And I feel like it only got in her bag because of Alice. Like
Yeah,
Alice put it in her bag. But I'm like,
oh, you know what happened? Oh, that's probably
Alex put her bag down.
And
she took the phone call.
And Alice
put the bottle in there, and
that's
then that's
probably
how
why
it
she didn't know the
happened.
difference. Yeah, but I did like how Alex played it off when the guard pulled it out and was like, "Oh, you have a water bottle," and she's like, "Oh, I didn't even know that I had a water bottle."
Right.
Not, "Oh, that's not mine." Like, because then she would have been like, Alice would have been like,
Well, that would have been really weird to be like, that's not my water bottle. I don't know whose water bottle. That's not mine. I don't drink water. Like that would have been weirder to be defensive about that.
Right. So yeah. So maybe that's why she just didn't say anything. But I'm just like, if I was Alex and I knew that would have happened, Alex should just throw in the water. You know, you get to the airport and you're like, I'm just gonna toss this water bottle away because I don't trust it. But Alex didn't do that. But whatever.
"Well, she didn't know she had the water bottle."
Yeah. I mean, like once he found out that the water bottle was in there.
Like they recycled it.
They recycled it.
Oh yeah. So then come to find out the water bottle was carrying a deadly agent, and that the target was Mike Lowry, who is the FBI agent in charge of investigating President Haas. And they wanted to frame President Haas to make it look like she had Lowry killed. Now, all of this is happening. Alex goes in there, realizes that the water bottles are, doing their thing, and then boop-a-doop-a-doop, who shows up but Ryan Booth? And then who does she run into in the stairwell?
In this huge building.
Out of all the places that they could have run into.
Of all the stairways.
Yeah.
Of all the places. Of all the times, the exact moments.
Right. How could she have figured that out? Okay, so that was a really weird thing. The other weird thing that happened was was Alex invoking Miranda.
I actually liked that.
It wasn't so much that. What made Alex think that Alice could not have moseyed on over to Miranda's office and be like, "Where's Alex?" You know what I mean? Like that could have been so easy for her to be like, "Oh, I'm just waiting for Alex. She's supposed to be meeting Miranda Keyes. I'll just wait for her here." No, Miranda's in her office right now. Oh no, but Alex isn't in there. Alex never came over here. Like, what made Alex think that Alice would not have gone back and checked that? And how did the writers not add that in? Because Alice was waiting for Alex outside, and why wouldn't Alice have gone directly to Miranda's office?
I mean, I was thinking the same thing, but at the same time, I'm like, if they've done their research on Alex, then they probably know her relationship with Miranda, and if Alex says that she's going to handle Miranda, then I'm pretty sure Alice is, a collaborator was like, okay, let me just step back and let her handle Miranda, if she does in fact believe what Alex is saying. But if she's doing what Renee is thinking, that Alice or the collaborators are just letting Alex do whatever to get her involved,
and then to frame Alex
and then
like
I don't think Alice is like, Alice wouldn't have went over to Miranda because she's like, I don't care what she's doing because we're gonna bring her down anyway, so we don't believe her anyway.
Yeah. So then that takes us to Alex and Owen and Ryan back to the house. Ryan and Owen are fighting over Alex basically at this point, which got a little awkward for me, and I was
awkward.
I was like, what is happening now? So they're fighting, and then
I think the only thing I liked about that conversation was when Owen said the collaborators are operating outside of the field of morality, and that's where Alex needs to go, which I was completely on board with. I was like, yeah, you need to stoop down to their level if you want to beat them at their end game. But I just didn't like how I don't like the hypocrisy that they showed with Ryan. Like, Ryan did all of these separate things, and while he was like trying to go undercover with the AIC and all of this other stuff, but yet you want to keep tabs on Alex. You want to call her every 5 minutes. You want to do all of this stuff. You want to tell her how she needs to do her job. You want to say how she has changed and you didn't want me to see the person that you've become. Like, it's just all like...
Well, I also think that Ryan, and then, you know, there obviously, I'm sure there's a little misogyny mixed up with jealousy in Ryan's thinking, because Ryan was never the golden, he never got, like, recognition for anything. Alex has always gotten the, even when she did crazy stuff, she has always gotten the gold star, and Ryan just never did. And so for her to go rogue again and nobody bat an eye, like, that's what ended up happening, and at least that's how I read that piece. So before I get to, like, what happened at the end, I'm going to move on to the team task, or what's left of the team task, which is Shelby and Clay teaming up, and then Raina doing her thing. And I was like, okay, I almost wrote down Nima's name because I couldn't remember which was which, but that's okay because I wrote down Raina and I figured it out. So Raina goes to meet with Felix because, and I wrote down, Raina is so gullible. I wrote down two things. Raina is so gullible and Raina is an issue in two separate writings, because Raina has always been an issue. How they have not removed Raina from the task force, just in general, I don't know. Like, after Clay figured out that Raina was, like, not Nima, I would have been like, you know what, Raina, we'll worry about your sister, but you can't be here.
It's literally like they're keeping her because they look the same.
Right. Like, because they're not the same person at all.
Which they addressed in this episode. Raina did say, I'm new at this.
Yeah,
You know,
but
referring to-
they don't have time for new.
They don't have time.
They have a whole country that's
I
crumbling
think-
around them, and they're like, well, let's reteach Raina again. You know, Raina, you.
But I honestly think that Felix does want to help her with her
He
sister.
did.
He did, but that's what I'm saying. But, like, not in the sense, and even that scene where Shelby was talking to Raina, and I'm like, yes, Shelby, tell her exactly what she needs to hear, because Raina is causing an issue. Why wouldn't you just, like, Nima, like, if Felix had called Nima and said, oh, I'm supposed to meet you somewhere and I just bumped into Shelby, Nima would have automatically picked up on that and been like, oh, yeah, let me meet you. Just follow whatever Shelby says, just follow the instructions that Shelby told you to. That's what Nima would have done.
Oh, 100%.
Raina, on the other hand, is like, but I think he's good.
But that's because Raina has this
moral compass?
Yes, she has a moral compass, and this is what I've
CIA
always
person
liked.
have moral
This is what I've
compasses.
always liked about the two twins, is that they're completely different in their beliefs. Whereas, you know, Nima would do anything to get the job done, whereas, as we saw with the G20 summit, and Raina, you know, will fight tooth and nail to hold on to any sort of morality that she can hold on to, and that is what she didn't want. That's why she didn't want them to go after Felix, because she said, want that conversation with Shelby. She's like, you're going to take down an innocent man to get to a guilty one, and that's not right. And I kind of agree with her.
Yeah, but again, then don't think that you can be an operative. Don't think that you can be a CIA agent or an FBI agent. You don't belong there, because the line of morality for intelligence officers, sometimes you have to choose country over your personal feelings about somebody. And that's exactly what Ryan thinks. That's exactly what Shelby thinks. That's exactly what Alex thinks. That's exactly what every CIA operative, and that's why Raina and Nima thinks. And that's why Nima was like, you know what? You go help them because I believe in you. Or Nima, I feel like, only did that because she wants her sister back. But Nima knew that Raina would not be able to handle this. So then what's the point?
That's what I said from the very beginning. Why are they trading places? The only one that's helpful from the outside is Nima.
Right.
Why would you lock her away and be
Right.
like, well, Raina, like, we'll figure it out.
Because from that point of it, from the morality point of it, Raina's not going to convince anybody of making it of making a moral change. Like, so then what's her point? What is her reason for being there other than
Seriously.
making a problem for everybody? She's not going to change anybody's mind.
But that's another thing that they haven't touched on, is the whole fact that Nima went into custody for Raina was because Raina needed to do the research to find out who framed her in the first place.
But she wasn't even doing the research. She was asking.
That's what I'm saying.
Right.
Like, they're not even touching on that. They're worried about water bottles and Alex going undercover. And
No. I'm saying if Raina's job was to do the research to find out who it was going after her sister, in addition to helping the task force out, Raina's not doing a very good job of that.
That's what
At
I just
all.
said.
That's what I'm saying. So like she was relying on somebody else to do the work for her. She was relying on Felix to get her information instead of using the resources that she had at her disposal with the intelligence agency that she was working for to do the job for her.
But she's making Felix a resource. That's her.
Yeah, the bad guy, the resource. You just don't make
I
the
don't
bad guy the
necessarily think that
resource.
he's a bad.
I just
guy.
meant like in the sense of you don't trust the
But
person.
she was right. I mean, we have to like come to a realization, like even though Clay had his suspicion because of the whole run-in with York at the office, however, Raina thinking that Felix was a good guy and he was trying to help her, as far as we know, did seem to be correct,
Genuine,
which we found at the end. So I mean, yes, Raina really pisses me off 98% of the time, but I will say, in this sense, she was right. Just she shouldn't have been involved. Like
Right.
just-
I think that I probably would have been fine if Raina had been like if they had kicked Raina out and then Raina had been doing it on her own.
Yep.
You know, and then they didn't use Raina as a part of the plan. You know,
agree.
and so I think that Raina's got to go.
Can we just quickly touch upon when Shelby and Clay were first coming up with this plan, and then it's the most awkward interaction I've seen in a long time, where he's like, "Hey, like I have an idea, like I just want to talk to you about." It. She's like, "Why me?" He's like, "Oh, because I respect you." She's like, "Oh, well, I didn't think you respect me when I slept with your brother. By the way, we're going away this summer. We're on the phone all night last night. Ha 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 ha. Did you hear me? I said I'm with your brother. Like,
Right.
why?
Like she's trying way too hard to
Like,
convince him.
Why?" And then
I think she's
the
trying to
rest.
convince herself.
No, you just don't do that. Just keep your. I cannot with them. And then Clay all like, "I have feelings for you. You're engaged.
Right.
Stop."
Where's Maxine? Maxine
Like,
is not.
what are you doing?
Right.
That to me is terrible. That to me is already like crossing the line of being like intimate with someone else and saying you have feelings for them when you're in. I can't. Honestly, Clay, I can't. And Shelby, I can't.
Right. So the team's task, just to get back to the team task, was to eliminate Rourke. Find something compelling against, compromising against him. They tried a sex scandal. They tried financial compensation, and then they landed on trying to somehow rope Felix into. And Tim, I think you wrote down, or you just had an idea. I could not remember what.
It was just a very complicated way of going about it. And kudos to the writers for thinking of this to get from point A to C. But the whole plan was because Rourke chairs the cyber terrorism committee that's highly coveted by Russian intelligence, they were going to talk to Ryan about giving access to Sasha's computer to get the contacts in Russia, to send them an email saying that Felix wants to meet, and then offering them intelligence that only Rourke would know. And then Felix would be arrested for selling secrets, and then they would think that it was Rourke, and they would think that it was on Rourke's behalf. So then Rourke would go down, and then President Haas would continue to stay president. But I was like, this is very, very involved. And then on top of that, they had Raina trying to get Felix to go and meet them because he trusts Raina because he likes her. It was very complicated.
All I know is about that, because I tried to write it down, is that it didn't work because of Raina.
And that's one thing that I needed to be a little bit clearer. Did she call him on purpose, or did she call him just to be like, hey, I just wanted, like...
I think she just called him out of the blue.
For an update
and
Yeah,
about-
she's the girl to like call before the date to ask if it's still on, and then call after to make sure it went okay.
I don't want to know why you know that.
Did you get
but-
home safe? I just wanted to check in.
Have you done that before? Do you do that often?
Just like a few calls before, I'd be like, just want to make sure we're still on.
I'm leaving my house in 5 minutes. Are you?
I'm outside in the parking lot. I'm about to walk in. Just want to let you know.
Just want to let you know, right? Oh, you're around the corner? Okay.
See you soon.
Yeah, so Felix has got his own thing going on. I don't know if Felix is going to come back. Like, I just don't know if he feels compelled to help them. Maybe he'll help Raina, but I don't think...
What do you know at this point
Well,
with
that was
what's
another
going
thing
on?
that was
though?
weird, was that Felix resigned because they were trying to set him up, because he was trying to
Help.
It seemed like he was trying to protect Rourke, but then at the end of the conversation, he was like, "Well, if you're saying that this is how Rourke is, then I don't want anything to do with either of you."
So I'm like,
But I'm like, but if you have any inkling that Rourke could be this person that they were talking about, maybe you should stay on the inside and help them take down this person.
Well, and I don't want him to come back in the next episode and be like, I had a change of heart.
Oh, I know.
And I thought about, like, either get out, either come in or stay out. Like, pick a lane, because you might as well just go out with Raina. You and Raina just do your own task force.
I
Be
would
together.
like them together.
No,
to
we
be
don't need
honest.
any more relationships on
I'm
this
over
show.
the relationships.
I'm over the
on this
relationships
show.
on the show. So now Rourke. So then Claire has to Claire, instead of getting impeached, she pulls a Nixon and instead of getting impeached, she does resign.
Well, only because of the terrorist attack, because she doesn't want anybody to get hurt.
Correct.
Anybody else to get hurt.
Right. Which I wrote down. It did say, I mean, and they were very explicit, because sometimes you got to listen. I don't know. But they did say 10 a.m. the next day. However, in the preview, I think that they've already kind of assigned. I think I saw somewhere where it said President Rourke or whatever.
Resigns.
So, not President, but no, not
President Haas,
President Rourke.
yeah.
No, like President Rourke's name was in the
Oh.
news conference or whatever. So I thought that it was going to be like 10 a.m. the next day, but they have between then and 10 a.m. to figure all this out and do that. And I thought that was going to happen.
And then she wasn't going to resign.
And
Yeah,
then
that's
she
what I
wasn't
thought
going to
was
resign. But I don't think that's what's going to happen. What's going to be interesting, though, is that President Rourke becomes president. Rourke is in charge of the intelligence agencies. So then what happens to the task force? They're not funded.
Well, the task force would be
Obsolete.
Wouldn't they be prosecuted because they were operating they were violating that for something?
Yeah,
act
but again,
that
like
they-
I said last week, they weren't really, because they're not military.
No, I understand that, but according to the show, they are.
Yeah.
So that's what Rourke was telling Clay in his office, is that if he turned against his mother, then the task force would be, exonerated for all of their doings with the task force.
Right.
But that clearly didn't happen. So are they going to go after the task force now?
I don't think they're going to go after the task force, because if you saw in the next episode, Ryan and Alex are flying on a plane.
So then, in that case, why are Ryan and Shelby being investigated by the media for being under? Like, this is what I'm talking about. The
What do you
consistencies
mean
in the show.
investigated by the
In the
media?
beginning of the episode, they were saying how Ryan
No, they were
and
just
Shelby
in
have
the
to.
media.
Yes, but yeah, exactly, because they were
Because
operating.
they were
do the-
named as a part of the thing. Alex and Ryan was
Exactly,
on
and
the
I'm
phone.
sure they're not going to go back to that after this,
right.
which is just another inconsistency on the parts of the show.
Well, I mean, I would like to see the media angle from that, if they're going to do that, which is, how involved does the media get with kind of going after these people? We've never, we had Sasha being very interested in what they were doing and doing that. We've never had, it's always been an internal thing. We've never had media going after Alex. We've never had media going after these
We've
people.
had media going after Alex when she did the terror. Well, they thought she did the terror.
Yeah, but I meant not following her around, not doing investigative journalism, not doing anything like that. Like, we need a really good investigative journalist to try to uncover some of this stuff on the show, to kind of be their what we think is their thorn in their side, like Sasha was, but somebody to kind of do the dirty work for them and help them out. And I think that's what that show needed. That's what Sasha should have been, but then they killed her off. Was a really good investigative journalist, and who could have been the one to uncover what they needed with Rourke, even in this episode, without using the tools, this unconventional media. So Claire resigns. That's it. The Haas's are out, and Rourke's going to be the next president of the United States. It's a little scary in this, as Rourke put it, this post-truth world. So basically, Henry Rourke is Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's basically where the Quantico writers took us this whole season was.
They did. They even said in this episode that they didn't trust President Haas, but they listened to what Rourke was saying.
Right.
And that hits a little close to home with
Yeah.
what happened this election.
Yeah. Well, like we said, next episode we go into an airplane situation when now the terrorists are up
That's
in the
terrifying.
air.
And Miranda's back.
And Miranda's back.
I'm really excited to see her.
What do you guys I thought Miranda was in the field. First of all, like I didn't think she was. I didn't think she was back in Washington, which I thought that was really weird. When Alex was like, "Oh, I'm going to see Miranda." I'm like, Miranda's like in a completely different state, but that's okay. How close do you guys think Miranda and Owen are going to be? Are you think that Miranda and Owen are going to be able to work together? They've never worked together before.
I don't know. I think it'll be interesting dynamic because they are both very strong leaders, and they both have their faults on certain, things.
And their kids both were like mini terrorists.
Seriously. So they have a lot to talk about.
Bond over.
Yeah. I don't know if they're gonna butt heads, but I hope that they don't, because I would really like to see them work together. But then at the same time, we don't really know what Miranda, like we saw her for a split second in the preview. We don't know how big her role is gonna be. She might just be like and then she's not.
And I don't want Miranda and Owen to sleep together. Let's just throw that out there.
I think he's got a hard on for Alex. So.
Well, he's not getting it from Alex, so he's got to go.
Way they're doing it, I don't know.
They're not doing anything yet.
Thank God.
Yet. I know the day when they kiss, I think I'm going to get a little nauseous.
Well, I hope that doesn't happen in the next few episodes. Let's bring up some social media from last week. The first, I'm going to pull it up on my phone too because it's easier for me to read. The first thing comes from in our chat. I don't know. It's from Marsha Smeed. Said, I don't know if I trust Maxine, which we talked about before, but I will also not like it if she's the bad guy, so Clay and Shelby can be together. I would not really like Shelby if she goes through the whole family like that. I'm with you, Renee, with the Alex Ryan situation, can't with Clay. And also, is there not a spy rule for backing up things like in paper files, not in the PC? Yes, I don't understand why they didn't back anything up. And couldn't Ryan take the phone of the journalists? And thank you for always interesting to hear the facts. Yes, articles of impeachment, not Nixon Johnson. And then, and she said, I love the after show, and of course. And then Ahmed said, seriously, people, I don't know why all of you forgot totally about Diana. Isn't she a part of the task? Why can't she just leave? She can't just leave as simple as they are saying. And we can wait for Caleb the whole season for only a couple of episodes. I mean, I really like this half of the season, but there are some stuff just unbelievable.
That's exactly how I feel. They're not.
Yeah, where's Diana?
Apparently, somebody later on in the comments said that Diana was. Clay told her that he didn't need her anymore, and that was it, and she left, and that was it. From the Twitter, at Rants of a Fangirl said, okay, Miranda and Owen is a ship I wouldn't mind sailing. Hashtag Quantico.
Please, that would make things so much less awkward.
It really would, though.
Like,
yeah, well, thanks for those who left your comments in the comment section. We read them all, and we love them, so make sure you leave your comments some more because we want to know what you guys thought about this episode and what you guys think is coming up in the next few episodes. Do you guys have shows coming up this week?
Yes, I have Grey's Anatomy on Thursday night, which just funny because I was about to bring up the Miranda and Owen kind of power couple because I feel like in Grey's Anatomy, if you guys watch at home, Weber and Catherine in Grey's Anatomy, they're also a pretty big power couple.
Just because they're black.
Yes, they are black. So I, like our fan said, I wouldn't mind seeing that ship sail with Miranda and Owen. And I also have Survivor on Wednesday night, which I'm really excited about.
Exciting, Renee.
Tomorrow night, on Tuesday night, I do Famous in Love. We go live at 10 p.m. And then on Wednesday, I do Designated Survivor at, I believe, 10 p.m. as well.
Where can they find you guys on the Twitter?
You guys can find me at Renee Ariel on Instagram and Twitter, and check out my blog, sextingandthecity.com.
You guys can find me on all social media platforms at I am Timothy Mike.
And tomorrow night, I will be back with my show, Political Culture. At 6 p.m., we will have a Stanford law professor to come and talk to us about Donald Trump's tax plan. So check that out on Black Hollywood Live or lack thereof. We'll see you all. Actually, I will not be here next week. We'll see. I don't know. If not, you'll have these two. But we will see you from AfterBuzz next week with episode 21. See you later.
Bye, guys.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.